Today, we're looking at the heartbreaking story of Ebby Steppach. Ebby was an 18-year-old senior in high school. She had a lot of passion. She had a lot of friends. She was bubbly. She had a love for makeup, and she wanted to become, her dream was to become a cosmetologist. Ebby grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. She was navigating her last year of high school. She was looking forward to her new future, saying goodbye to her friends like we normally do in high school, and she had plans of becoming a cosmetologist. Ebby had recently moved out of her parents' house and into her grandparents' house. She wanted a little space and some independence. She was ready and excited to start her new future, but unfortunately, that future never arrived. Her mother described her as funny and big-hearted, had a compassion towards others, and she really wanted to help those who were less fortunate. She had a big heart. In October 2015, Ebby's life took a dark turn. It was on October 23 that she attended a party just like other teenagers do. They went to a party. She had fun, a lot of friends. And the party was in Little Rock, Arkansas. It's a mid-sized town of about 200,000 people. And it was known for just close community. Everybody knew each other there. It was large enough to have other things to do, but small enough to know your neighbors. It was the next day after the party that Ebby texted her stepfather and made a devastating claim that a group of men attacked and assaulted her, and the entire thing was recorded on a cell phone. She wanted to go to the police and report it, and she asked her stepfather, Michael, to go with her. Later that evening, Ebby did call the police to make a brief statement, but nothing was recorded. And by October 25th, Ebby was unreachable. Couldn't find her. Her last recorded contact was a distorted phone call to her brother Trevor around 2 p.m., where she said he was in the car, but she didn't know where she was. Her car was found 2 days later in Charlemont Park. It was abandoned. The battery was dead. The gas tank was empty. And her belongings, like her phone, her keys, and her makeup, were scattered all around inside the car. The initial police response to Ebby's disappearance was lackluster at best. The police had labeled Ebby's disappearance as a possible runaway, but Ebby's parents insisted it was not. Ebby just wouldn't do that. She wouldn't run away for no reason. She disappeared, and her parents insisted on that. And here's where it gets frustrating. We don't know all the details. It's easy to point fingers and point out the blame, but Ebby's investigation, at least the initial investigation into her disappearance, were full of missed opportunities. Cell phone records showed that on the night of October 24th, Ebby sent text messages to the men that she accused of assaulting her, threatening to go to the police if they didn't delete the alleged video. This detail that was reported by her family and then later confirmed in news outlets, it suggests that she was actively confronting her attackers. It was a bold move, but may have been what actually put her in danger. Yet, police did not immediately investigate these men or search their phones for evidence of the video. Another important and critical clue that was overlooked by the police came from one of Ebby's close friend's mother. Days after Ebby's disappearance, while she was in the park, she noticed a strong smell coming from a drainage pipes. Now, it could have been a dead animal, but the smell was so strong, she reported that to the police. And the smell coming from the drainage pipe, it was actually pretty close to where Ebby's car was found. And Ebby's friend's mother called 911 3 different times. When the police finally arrived, they searched a little bit and said they could find nothing. They just told her it was probably an animal that went into the drainage pipe and died. And that was it. This early dismissal would haunt the case for years. Then in May 2018, nearly 3 years after Ebby's disappearance, a cold case detective, Tommy Hudson, decided to visit Charlemont Park. Acting on a hunch, he obtained city maps and looked at the drainage systems and sent cameras into the pipes near where the smell was coming from. And that cracked the case wide open. Within hours, they discovered skeletal remains just 60 feet from the parking lot, in the very drainage pipe that Ebby's friend's mom had reported the smell coming from. The remains were confirmed to be Ebby's. She had been there the entire time, hidden in plain sight, while her family endured anguish for years. This discovery was a gut punch, not only to Ebby's family, but to the community. And it's just heartbreaking. For all these years, they had thought that she was missing and wondered, is she still alive somewhere? And now getting this news of a positive identification of her body, it was heartbreaking. It's so puzzling to think about why all the different searches and the reports and identification, possible IDs, and they could not find her. Why was Ebby's friend's mom's report ignored? The Little Rock Police Department did face intense scrutiny. Now, I'm not here pointing fingers at the police department. They have a lot of things to investigate, a lot of things that they have to do. They're probably shorthanded. So I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just expressing how frustrated the families must have felt. And maybe the community really wanted some resolution here, and it just didn't come for years. As a licensed professional counselor, I want to explore the psychological layers here of this case, focusing on themes of betrayal and disbelief. I do want to point out this is just my speculations here, not a diagnosis of anybody. First, let's consider Ebby's mindset here. At 18, she was still asserting her independence. We know that she moved in with her grandparents. She was getting ready to graduate from high school. We know that she had lots of friends and a social network. She went to a party, and her decision to confront her attackers, it makes me think that maybe she knew them and she wanted to get the evidence of what happened erased. She was embarrassed and she did not want it to get out in public. From a psychological perspective, survivors of assault often experience a fight or flight response. Ebby's choice to fight by threatening to go to the police may reflect a need to regain control after a traumatic violation. However, her actions there may have escalated the violence that was done to her. It could have provoked her assailants. Now I want to talk about the perpetrators. If Ebby's accusations are true, and we have no reason to believe they weren't, the men she confronted may have exhibited traits associated with predatory behavior. The act of filming the assault, as Ebby alleged, points to a need for power and control, often seen in individuals with narcissistic and antisocial personality traits. They weren't just showing off, they were exhibiting and exerting their dominance. Psychologists indicate that such individuals lack empathy and act impulsively to protect their own self-image or to avoid consequences, or both. Sending threatening texts to these men could have triggered a defensive, possibly violent reaction, especially if they feared exposure. And I think that is likely what happened. They didn't want to be turned in to the police, and so the only alternative that they can think of was to get rid of the evidence, which is Ebby. And then for Ebby's family, the dismissal compounded their trauma and their grief. It created a sense of institutional betrayal, a term in psychology to describe when trusted systems fail to protect or support a case. My heart goes out to Ebby's family. I can't imagine what they have been going through. I'm always looking for cases that have a psychological layers to it. So if you have a case in mind, let me know and I'll take a look. Thank you for watching. And until next time, stay curious, stay safe.